Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
A new era of Michigan State football has begun. On Sunday, a day after the Spartans ended the regular season with a victory over Maryland at Ford Field, the university announced head coach Jonathan Smith will not be back for his third season leading the program. Then on Monday, MSU announced former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald will be the 27th head coach in MSU football history. Fitzgerald was introduced on Tuesday, and we were there for it all.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I kind of felt the same way when I addressed the team this morning. It was great to see those guys, but what an exciting day it is to be here. And thank you for everyone for attending. I'm humbled to be named the head football coach here at Michigan State University.
Pat Fitzgerald had no lack of energy at his introductory press conference on Tuesday. He's thrilled to be back coaching in the Big Ten, especially at a place like Michigan State. From his time as a player and coach at Northwestern, Fitzgerald knows all about the passion Spartan Nation has, and he is ready to get to work.
Spartan Stadium has always been an incredibly challenging place to play. I know firsthand. I don't want to talk about a lot of those games. We'll leave those alone. But what jumps out so much is the pride and the people and the commitment and the resources to compete at the highest level. And I'm here because I believe deeply in what we can build together. I'm looking forward to building a great staff. I'm looking forward to putting together an unbelievable football product as we move forward here.
Fitzgerald has not coached in college since the 2022 season. After 17 years leading Northwestern, he was fired just before the 2023 season after an alleged hazing scandal. Fitzgerald denied any knowledge of the situation, later sued the school for wrongful termination, and the two sides settled when there was no evidence Fitzgerald knew of the hazing. So being away from the college game for so long has him very motivated to get back to work.
I love and adore my players, and I love and adore their families. And to get that ripped away from me was that knocked me down. That rocked me to the core. And it's like any time, like I cut my hand the other day, and now it's kind of healing, and eventually there'll probably be a little bit of a scar. That process of grieving for us as a family. I wouldn't have been able to do it without Stacy, Jack, Ryan, and Brendan, my entire family, my sisters. Unfortunately, we lost my dad throughout the process. That if you covered me, you saw that he was on our sideline, typically. So there was a lot, but what it taught me is perseverance. And I told the guys this morning, you're going to hear me say this a lot. Life's 10% what happens to you, 90% what you do about it. I didn't make that phrase up. But I think I'm a great description and embody exactly what that's all about because of our family.
Fitzgerald had about 8 teams show interest in hiring him as a head coach, and when he got off the phone with Michigan State, he could sense the excitement from his family, and it really helped solidify his decision. Also, the commitment to building the football program back up, and athletic director Jay Batt wanting MSU to be a top 10 athletic department was big for Fitzgerald too.
When we started having our conversations, I got really excited to see the alignment, by President Guskowitz and his vision on where he wants the athletics department to be. Jay articulated, to be a top 10 athletics department driven with success in football, discussing, different areas within supporting the players and supporting the program. That was my focus. And as I looked around the landscape and we see some I would call them, non-traditional powers that are playing for conference championships or maybe in the playoff conversation, you better believe Michigan State should be in that conversation. And that's my job, and that's why I'm here, and that's the staff that I'm going to bring.
Pat Fitzgerald met every criteria. He's a passionate winner. He understands the Big Ten and college football here in the Midwest. We have a shared vision for building championships and returning this program to its elite level of success. At the same time, we have an obligation as a department to the football program. We are fully committed to providing the resources and infrastructure required to compete at the highest level.
Because of the time of his hiring, Fitzgerald's first priority before focusing on building a staff was recruiting. The first day of the early signing period was on Wednesday. The The announcement of Fitzgerald's hiring came out on Monday, and that night he was already calling players who had committed to the program under previous head coach Jonathan Smith. Fitzgerald also met with the current players on Tuesday, and he wants to make this transition between coaches a smooth one.
I wanted to make sure that they knew how I felt about Coach Smith. And, not only because of my selfishly because of my friendship, but because I can only imagine how they felt, how my guys felt when I got taken away from my guys, how, they felt when they lost their coach. And that's just part of this process now. But I genuinely want them to know that. And it's the same thing I said to the staff. I've only been with the staff for 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes today. That will increase exponentially as we move forward. And then, we got to talk to everybody and work through that process. But I just want them to know that I genuinely care and I understand what they're going through. And, as I build relationships, we'll see what I can do for people.
Fitzgerald added that he had a conversation with Jonathan Smith on Monday, and he called Smith a great friend. Basketball coach Tom Izzo also spoke with Smith on Monday. We'll have more on that coming up right after the break.
We show up every day to lead, to grow, to build.
Being a Spartan means leading with purpose.
It's about trust.
It's about team.
It's about showing up. That kind of commitment carries beyond the ring.
Into the classroom, into the community.
MSU FCU understands that.
They're more than a partner.
They're with us.
Every step.
They believe in what we're building.
They're all in. Join the team that backs the Spartans.
MSU FCU.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Just a day after Michigan State's football team took down Maryland in the regular season finale, the university announced it would be firing head football coach Jonathan Smith after 2 seasons. The Spartans went 5-7 in year 1 under Smith and then 4-8 in year 2, which featured an 8-game losing streak in Big Ten play. MSU Athletic Director Jay Batt said in a statement on Sunday, while the lack of success does not fall solely on Smith, it became clear a coaching change was needed. Both Batt as well as men's basketball coach Tom Izzo discussed this week the decision to move on from Smith. If you ask anyone close to the Michigan State football program, Jonathan Smith was a good man.
To get a win for him in this fashion, it means a lot to me to be able to do it for Coach Smith, and I think a lot of the guys feel the same way. We have a lot of respect for Coach Smith, and we'll go out there and run through a wall for him.
However, at the end of the day, winning is the most important thing for a head coach in college football. The Spartans had not done much of that during the Jonathan Smith era, and it's what led to a change in leadership.
I mean, everybody knows the UCLA game here was a tough game. We didn't look good. It wasn't a good look in general. But if you don't think Tom Izzo's had a few of those games, I mean, I was down 30 to Memphis at halftime. I mean, we've all gone through it. But what really impressed me is to get yourself off the ground and continue is what we're paid for. But to get your players off the ground to continue, and I did think they competed, whether it be at Indiana, Nebraska, I can think of games, USC, that I think we could have, should have won.
Pat Fitzgerald was introduced on Tuesday. Athletic Director Jay Batt was asked when the conversations with Fitzgerald began. Batt did not go into details on that matter and said it's his job to be prepared. Batt also made sure to talk about Smith before bringing Fitzgerald up to the podium.
Before I get into today's news, I'd like to thank Jonathan Smith for the first-class manner in which he represented Michigan State and the professional, classy manner he's handled this transition. We certainly wish him well and his family well in their future endeavors.
Jay and I had weekly conversations around how the season was going, and I was there to support him along the way. And last week, in that last meeting we had actually down in Florida, we were having a conversation, and I think it was still evolving at that point, but I knew we had the right athletics director that was going to find the right football coach if we decided collectively their change needed to be made. What Jonathan Smith, meant to the place, he worked tirelessly for 2 years, and so we've got the right athletics director, we've got the right football coach, and I'm, upward and onward.
I hate what's happened to Jonathan Smith. I hate what's happened because things did not go as well as I would like them, but more importantly, things did not go as well as he would like it. I did talk to him every week, talked to him before every game. There are a lot of things that were issues, but a lot of things that were beyond his control.
Izzo and Fitzgerald each talked with Smith on Monday. Izzo feels bad for how things ended for Smith with Michigan State. However, Izzo also understands why it was done.
I don't like the way it's going as far as when you look around the country. It used to be you had 4 or 5 years to turn a program around. It feels like sometimes you have 4 or 5 weeks. And that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's tough now. And some of it is because of the portal, some of it's because of the NIL, some of it's because of impatience in general. And but I am saddened by what happened. I understood it. He understood it. I talked to him today. He understood it, which is really important, but doesn't mean we have to like it.
While Izzo does feel bad for how things ended for Jonathan Smith at Michigan State, he does approve of the hiring of Pat Fitzgerald. Izzo was unable to be at Fitzgerald's introductory press conference on Tuesday because he had a basketball game to prepare for. On Tuesday night at the Breslin Center, the Spartans began Big Ten play by taking on Iowa, and we'll have a recap of that victory coming up right after the break.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
On Tuesday, the same day Michigan State introduced football coach Pat Fitzgerald, the men's basketball team was taking on Iowa for its Big Ten opener. The Spartans were playing without freshman Cam Ward, who had a hand injury and is expected to be all right for MSU's next game this weekend against Duke. The Spartans had a great home crowd advantage, and they gave them a show in their first game in conference play. You best believe new football coach for Michigan State, Pat Fitzgerald, made an appearance at the game Tuesday night, and as soon as he walked onto the court, the Izzone and the fans went nuts. Fitzgerald took the mic, and he fired everyone up.
We're so excited to be here tonight. You just made the difference between the last 2 timeouts, right? Yeah. Not even close enough. Let's blow the roof off this thing here. Let's get Spartan Stadium rocking this fall. What do you guys say? Go green! Go green!
As for the game, it started slow for both teams, then the Spartans took off. Freshman Jordan Scott connects on the triple. Next time down the floor, it's the floor general connecting on a long 2. Jeremy Fears Jr. had 14 points, and this bucket capped off a 13-0 run for MSU. Then it was Fears dropping some dimes, a little pass to Cohen Carr for the slamma jamma. Carr was not done there, taking his anger out on rims. Another Carr jam, plus the foul. The junior had a team-high 15 points. MSU is up 19 at this point. Then how about Jesse McCullough getting in on the fun, banking in the 3. Michigan State wins 71-52, improving to 8-0 on a big day for the green and white. Our Kara Adams was there and has more.
Head coach Tom Izzo described the month of November as an incredible month of basketball for his team. The Spartans are 8-0 to start the season and have 3 top 25 wins.
What's impressed me the most is the connectivity, the camaraderie. I mean, it's not phony. It's special. You know, it's really, you know, Carson can play not his greatest game tonight, and I still love him because what he's done for our younger guys has been unbelievable. How he handles the locker room and things, what he's done for Jesse and Cam has been phenomenal.
That tough non-conference schedule certainly prepared this MSU team for their first Big Ten win of the season over Iowa on Tuesday night.
There's no better way to start it, you know, the first game with a win. So it's a lot, you know, easier starting 1-0 than 0-1 for the Big Ten. So just make sure we came in and try to get the job done.
Got a little tougher. We out-rebounded them by almost 20. I thought we defended really, really well, the ball screen defense. They're really good at it, and I thought we did a great job. We said free throws were going to be important. We got to the line, and we converted. So if you rebound, you run pretty good. That takes care of a lot of things.
Redshirt sophomore Jeremy Fears Jr. is leading the country in assists, but his head coach is more impressed with how he's grown as a leader.
I've been really proud of Jeremy because not a great shooting night. He didn't take enough shots. I thought he could have taken a few more. I'm getting really comfortable with his shooting, but he's getting to the line. He's making those. You know, one bad turnover, a couple others that were good, but all in all, boy, when he was that pregame, those huddles when we were, I think, getting our butts kicked, I thought Jeremy Fears was really, really good, and that's what good leaders do. So I feel fortunate about that.
Just understanding, you know, what to say, who to say, how to get the guys going, how to pick the guys up, you know, and when to get on the guys. So just understanding, you know, the moment and the situation a little better.
Junior Cohen Carr led the way in scoring on Tuesday night with 15 points and has also made some big strides, according to his head coach.
He's been shooting a lot better in practice. He puts the ball on the floor a lot better. He's taking it to the hole a lot better. Getting to the free throw line and rebounding is something we think he should be at an elite level at. And he's getting better at it, you know. I mean, we are not a finished product, although a lot of teams aren't. But I think we still have a lot of room for growth, which is exciting. We just got to make sure we stay the course and, you know, realize, like I've been telling you, that we don't know where everybody is yet. You know, in a couple weeks we'll figure it out, and then we'll see what the pecking order is and where we fit into that pecking order.
The Spartans will return to the Breslin Center on Saturday for a top 10 showdown and a battle of the unbeatens when they welcome Duke to East Lansing. Tip-off is set for noon. At the Breslin Center, I'm Kara Adams.
That game with Duke should be a good one. The Blue Devils lead the all-time series with Michigan State 10-2. One of those losses for Duke, of course, the 2019 Elite Eight, one of the best victories of Tom Izzo's career. Coming up after the break, we'll focus on the MSU women's soccer team who was playing in the Elite Eight last week. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
The greatest postseason run in program history came to an end last week for the Michigan State women's soccer team with a loss to Stanford in the Elite Eight. One of the driving forces behind the late season success for the Spartans was redshirt junior Emerson Sargent. Our Tyler Driesinga shows us why this special season is extra gratifying for Sargent.
Emerson Sargent learned to bleed green as a little girl, growing up just an hour away in Heartland, Michigan.
I grew up going here, watching all the sports, and because both my parents went here. So this kind of just felt like a second home to me. So it never really felt like I was too much of a change.
Sargent's comfort level at Michigan State helped her step in and make an immediate impact. She earned all Big Ten freshman honors in 2022. As a sophomore, she started 21 of 22 games, scored 4 goals with 6 assists, and was named second team All-Big Ten. Sargent was a standout from the start, but 5 games into her junior year, everything changed. Sargent tore her ACL against Xavier. In an instant, her season was over.
It was definitely like a drastic change. It was like the 5th game of the season last year. And it was kind of weird because one of my other teammates had just torn hers a few games before that, so it was kind of like back-to-back. But definitely I just remember being just really heartbroken and kind of shocked because it's kind of one of those things where you never think it's going to happen to you until it does.
Sargent says she knew how serious the injury was immediately.
When it happens, everyone talks about it like you kind of just know. And I kind of just knew it was like one of those things with the pop and everything and how it felt.
A long rehab process lie ahead, and Sargent says having teammate Reagan Dalton going through the same injury and recovery made the journey back less lonely.
Having her was probably the biggest help ever through it all because I've never felt like I was alone. But obviously, like my teammates and my coaches were really big help too. But it's definitely, when you're in it, it's kind of hard for people on the outside to look in and kind of relate if they haven't had it happen to them. So having her and going through it together was awesome.
And the thing that I always find interesting about athletes who go through these kind of long-term injuries is that rehab is so long, you know, it's so many days of it. Where did you find the strength to keep going on the days where it really wasn't easy and you know, maybe wanted to give up?
Yeah, it's definitely, you got to look at the little wins. So it's like we kind of had like little milestones, I guess. So, you know, like even if it's super small, you got to celebrate them. And like, especially in the beginning, it's like bending your leg again and putting pressure on it and even walking normally again. So I think every time like I reached one of those, it kept me going a little longer until I got to the next one. And then, you know, after like the first 6 months, you kind of start doing kind of normal activities. So after that, I thought it was like smooth sailing from there.
After about 9 months, Sargent finally reached the big milestone. She had been fully cleared to return, but the news came right when the team went its separate ways at the start of the summer.
I also think it allowed me to build trust with myself, and throughout that whole summer of just training on my own and starting to train with other people, just prepared me to come back and be ready to go when the season started.
11 months after the injury occurred, Sargent scored a goal for MSU in a preseason exhibition. She was able to start the season opener against Colorado and stayed in the starting lineup for every game this season.
And walk me through the emotions of taking the field for the first time at Colorado.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like, you don't realize like how much soccer was like just a big part of my life, and when I finally got to play that again, it was just the best feeling ever.
And how has that experience as a whole changed your perspective about what it is that you get to do every day?
Yeah, I think it's just every day, like I don't take it for granted now. I think every practice, especially, like there's never a day where I'm like, oh, I don't want to practice, because I think about, you know, for 9 months I couldn't practice. So I think it just made me, I guess, hungrier and wanting, just realize how much soccer is important to me.
As the season went on, Sargent rediscovered her all-conference form. She scored her first goal since returning in late September against Minnesota and followed it up with a 2-goal day in the team's next game against Wisconsin.
And they score! Emerson Sargent.
By the end of the regular season, Sargent had scored 5 goals. Then came the Big Ten tournament, and in the semifinal game against UCLA, Sargent provided one of the best moments of the season. She scored the Spartans' first goal, and then with the game tied 1-1 in overtime.
It's a big mistake, and Emerson Sargent capitalizes! Sargent with the brace! And Michigan State is heading to the championship game!
That was just awesome. I mean, one of the best feelings ever, and like going into that game, obviously I didn't expect like it to go that way or to go overtime, anything. But yeah, that was probably the best moment of the season so far, is just like that goal and celebrating with my teammates. It was just awesome.
After the long road back, Sargent reestablished herself as one of Michigan State's top players and one of the best in the Big Ten. Seeing a season of such personal importance culminate with the team's first ever trip to the Elite Eight was a dream come true.
I'm so proud. I mean, it's been 3 years in the making, and I feel like getting past that Sweet 16 round. And it's just something that like we've always prided ourselves in, is trying to do better each year, and like it just feels so good that I'm playing again, and then we're back and we're making history. So it's awesome. I'm so proud of everyone.
On paper, this was the best season of Sargent's career. She had a career-high 8 goals and added 3 assists. She was also a first-team All-Big Ten selection for the first time in her career. That'll be it for this week's show. As always, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next week.
Now, the Play of the Week, sponsored by Schupan & Sons.
Milivojevic looking into the end zone. Touchdown, Spartans! Omari Kelly hauls it in. Well, when you haven't won in 8 games, you leave nothing to chance.
At Michigan State, we don't just chase dreams.
We build them together.
MSU FCU stands with us.
In every season, on every field, every dream.
MSU FCU Women of Sparta
is more than a program.
It's a movement.
We're creating the next generation of leaders because when Spartans support Spartans, there's nothing we can't do.
This is what strength looks like.
This is Women of Sparta.